Well, how you all doing? I'm back. And before I get into this video, I do want to mention here that Nicole will be showing up in the next one. Basically, what's happened is we took some time off at Christmas. And lo and behold, it was so nice to take some time off. We took some extra time off, especially off of social media and off of YouTube. And basically, kept a very low profile. Now, for this particular video that I'm doing today, I'm going to start it off. I'm going to start it off this way. A year ago, yeah, about a year ago, I put up a video called Twin Flames. Can you have more than one? And then there was another one that I put up sometime around about that time also. And it was, you had a connection with someone and it's more intense than it was with your twin flame. Something along that line. I actually forget the title. And needless to say, I got a lot of flack from some people. A lot of people understood exactly what I was talking about. And I understand that a couple of people, YouTubers in the twin flame community, actually got up and, because I guess a whole pile of people went whining and crying about what Mel had said about twin flames, you can have more than one. And they did exactly what I expected they would do. They reaffirmed the ingrained belief system that you can only have one. So all the people in that belief system were intensely happy that someone who supposedly had some credibility and authenticity reaffirmed their belief systems for them. Wonderful. Like I really give a shit. Anyway, I want to bring you up to speed with what's been going on. Now, I want everybody to kind of keep in mind here that one of the advantages that Nicole and I have is we have been doing this for going on 22 years now. And we've pretty much seen it all, heard it all, listened to it all, read it all, and here's what we've discovered. The main point here is, as a general rule, in most of the twin flame community, not all, but in most of the twin flame community, people are still seeing this connection based on their priority and their belief system. And that priority and that belief system is based on the fact of what has been preached, predicted, pontificated on for probably the last 20 years in the twin flame community, that it's a relationship and it's pending. And that's all good. And that's wonderful. However, what I'm going to do here in this video is I'm going to need to tell you a couple of stories. I hope people like stories, because I got some stories I want to tell you, and they're based on personal experiences. Obviously, I'm not going to use the names of the individuals in question, but it'll give you a rough idea. I'm going to edit them down to shorten them a little bit. And this one happened, this will kind of lead you where into it. This is going to be a long video, so you might as well get your jammies and, you know, get your favorite cigar or whatever you smoking. Or eating, whatever, that, you know, gets you in the right frame of mind. But anyways, to get back to the story, I'm in a jovial mood today, as you can tell. The energy's kind of, woo, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Twin flamey energy, you know, woo, all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 and all that wonderful hickey-do stuff and ticky-do stuff. And, oh, it's just a wonderful thing, isn't it? Anyways, back to the story. I had a lady come to me, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, which really kind of motivated the couple of videos at that particular point in time. No, actually, I think it was about 2 years ago. And she came to me and she said, "Mel, I'm having a lot of trouble with my twin flame." And she said, "I don't need you to tell me that it's my twin flame." She said, "I know it's my twin flame. And I've had my angels and my guides tell me it's my twin flame. And they've even given me information about my twin flame." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. That's wonderful. If you tell me it's your twin flame, hey, who am I to tell you otherwise? But if you ask me for a second opinion," I said, "then that's a different story. But I accept everybody for what they tell me as being their reality." So anyway, she's telling me this story about her twin flame, and it was not going with her well with her twin flame. Her twin flame's a drug addict, and he's selling and doing drugs, and he's a questionable character, and the connection between the two of them has been very rocky, very abusive, in some cases almost downright physical and emotionally abusive, and in some cases even sexually abusive. And I said to her, I said, "Well, where is he now?" And she said, "Well, he's doing several years in the can for selling drugs." That's jail, for those of you who don't know what the can is. He's doing several years in the in the can for dealing in drugs. And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Look," I said, "I'm being a country boy and rather dumb." I said, "I want to ask you a question if I can." And she said, "Sure, go ahead." I said, "How long have you been connected with your twin flame?" And she said, "Well, I met him when I was 25. And I said, "Well, how old are you now?" She said, 40. I'll be 41 in a few months. And my mouth dropped open, and I was stunned, and I blurted out without thinking. I still chuckle when I think about it. I said, "You mean to tell me that you've been hanging on to this asshole for 15 years because he's your twin flame?" I said, where did you get the idea that you had to stick with this asshole for as long as you did?" And she said, "Well, I belong to a couple of those twin flame groups on Facebook." And she says the one that I'm involved with and the people that are there, they all believe that if you have and you found your twin flame, that you can only have one and you're supposed to stick with it. Well, needless to say, the Melvinator, that's me, I clued her into a reality that was a little different on the concept of twin flames. And needless to say, about 6 months later, I heard from her, and she thanked me for what I did. And she had met someone, very high vibrational, very high connection. And suddenly the twin flame name didn't even come up. And she was extending me an invitation to go to her upcoming marriage, that she was going to get married, and she was very happy with this particular person. Example number one. Another situation has come up, and this is more recent, where I'm looking at the last month and going also into December. One of the things, before I get into the second story, that I want to mention here is I want everybody to understand I'm not the kind of person that will get up on a YouTube video and give information just for the sake of impressing people, in a lot of cases, which I do probably, or pissing them off, vice versa. There's no difference between impressing them and pissing them off. It's just their perception of the information that I give them, all right? And what happens is, in a lot of cases, I get downloads like everybody else, all right? And I've learned over the years that when I get a download and I get that, yes, eureka, I got it. It's there. It's real. It's reality. It's it. What I don't do is jump up on YouTube and start pontificating. What I do is I wait. for validation. Now, what I mean by validation, because I have that exposure to a very cosmopolitan cross-section of the planet, and people from different cultures, from different races, from different parts of the world, going through this evolutionary twin flame experience, what I've learned is to wait until I get that validation. And interestingly enough, starting back in, just before the solstice in December, I started getting some clients, which first was a trickle. And then in the month of January here, as it is now, we're into almost the middle of January, it's become almost everyone. 90% of the people that are coming now are giving me this scenario in some variations. Mel, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you, but I have been with my twin flame in a twin flame union for several years now, or a few months, or a couple of years, or whatever. And I don't understand what's going on, Mel, because all of a sudden in this twin flame union of mine, suddenly another person has showed up, in most cases for one, but in a couple of cases for both individuals in the twin flame union, where the connection and the vibration was more intense, more powerful, more overwhelming than the connection between the two of them who are already together. And they don't know what the walk is going on. All right? You can figure out what what the walk means, okay? And I've had individuals get a hold of me and say, holy geez, Mel, what is going on? I have met my twin flame, and obviously a lot of these people have been given information from what they call their higher self, or their guides, or their angels, or their teachers, or whatever, that this person is connected with their twin flame, and this is their twin flame. And suddenly, out of the blue, someone else shows up, and I've had this, and I'm telling you the God's honest truth here. I'm having them show up like you wouldn't believe, and they're all telling me the same friggin' story, that this is what happened. And this is even happening to people who are in marriages, okay, who have connected with their twin flame, and that connection with their twin flame has stayed open over the course of months and or years, and they're meeting another individual who's even more powerful, more intense than the connection between the twin flame that they're not with, and they've evolved to that point where they understand it's a process and not necessarily as a relationship pending. So what the walk is going on? Hey, Mel, what's going on here? All right. And I'm getting more and more people coming with the same scenario. All right. And this is what I'm finding out. Now, I'm going to give it to you the best of my ability. And I'm going to say this to you right now, right at the beginning of this video. I don't care who you are, and I don't care where you are in your twin flame connection, be it you're together and you've been there for years, you've just connected, or you've connected and you're in separation, or you're going through all of that other ridiculous stuff, the runner-chaser phenomena, or all you want is just a relationship, or whatever. Wherever you're at, in whatever twin flame group you're with, hear me on this. Hear me on this and this part, okay? Now I'm going to tell you a story that applies to myself and Nicole that will give you some understanding. What Nicole and I have discovered as a twin flame couple who have been in our twin flame union, and I'm talking union here, not a relationship as most of you are seeing it. A union is totally different than your basic everyday relationship. What we have discovered is this. You're going to love this, folks. I have been gifted, and Nicole has been gifted, and we've discussed this at length in the last little while, with the genetic and hereditary traits of our family or our bloodline, if I can put it that way. In other words, any things that we have in our physical bodies right now that may come up as an issue and or a problem or a physical disability or impairment or malfunction on my side and her side directly comes from the gene pool of our bloodline, our family. And how do we get it? We get it, and I've talked about this before, and this is becoming serious shit now, folks. This is no more goofing around now. Now we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts here. Pay attention for Pete's sake, all right? Because this is going to happen to you, and I don't care how evolved you think you are or how vibrationally high you think your soul is. And let me tell you something just for a moment about your soul. Everybody has this silly illusionary belief system that your soul wants you to always be happy and balanced and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something about your soul that some of these people are not telling you. Your soul has no problem seeing you in difficulty or pain, by definition, or any other thing that's going on that forces you to change, evolve, and grow, all right? But we got a few people in the YouTube community who keep painting that wonderful picture about your soul doesn't want you to experience this, blah, blah, blah. Your soul doesn't give a rat shit about what you believe or what you think. It is having you here to experience, to grow, and evolve through pain and difficulty if necessary. But on the other hand, you will get information through other people or people like me who can assist you through this process, which I'm going to do now. And this is what Nicole and I discovered, all right? We started to realize that we had these impediments or blockages or dysfunctional or attitudes or belief systems that had been gifted. I want to use the word gifted from our parents, okay? And those gifts were given to us during the time we're going through the puberty phase. Now, I'm not talking about formulation of personality, which takes place before that. I'm talking about being templated by the belief systems, the ideologies, the dysfunctional patterns, the creative abilities, etc., and also the physical conditions of your bloodline, your soul group, whatever, that you inherit as a gift through your parents. So what does that got to do with twin flames? What has happened is this, all right? And again, this is where belief systems come into play, and I see this all the time. I see this all the time up on YouTube where you'll see people say, well, this is what you can do to heal your twin flame of their difficulties. And I'll actually see a pair of twin flames that actually do this, okay? They tell people that you can do this, you can actually heal your twin flame of their dysfunctional patterns or this, that, and the other thing. And that pair of twin flames, and I'm going to say this right out, is so full of shit, it's coming out of their ears. All right? And they live in British Columbia, by the way. Because I've heard enough stories from some people that this is what's going on. Now, what Nicole and I have found out is that the core issues, these deep core issues, neither one of us have been able to assist in releasing them deeply from within the etheric body by either one of us. And it is something that you need to do individually, by yourself, or you need some mechanism to assist you to be able to do that. And what has happened is because we are dealing now with the balance of masculine and feminine, the yin-yang balance has to be established on a planetary scale. What's happening is this. You know, you can go back and take a look at your parents, whatever hang-ups they had, or if they were egocentric, or if they were manipulative or controlling or abusive, if they were creative, intelligent, they passed all of this stuff on to you. So what's happening now at this particular point is you need to understand your twin flame can't do it for you, all right? You have to find a mechanism that can do it for you. And because you've become close and you've experienced all of the things that you can experience with your twin flame, if you will, by definition, what happens is there's still a residual of things left over, as it were. So what happens is, and the other thing that's important to this is I have noticed as a general rule also, that when a set of twins come in, I'm finding as a general rule, even in the ones that come to me that I haven't validated or given them a second opinion that they're twin flame, I find out that in most cases in doing counseling work with them, that the two of them come from two different soul groups as a general rule. So they have different idiosyncrasies or dysfunctional patterns or personality traits that are gifted to them from their parents, and they clash, okay? And they can't seem to work it out between the two of them for some oddball reason, whatever. I don't know why. I don't understand the whole process, all of it at this particular. I got a good handle on it, but I'm still learning as I go along. So what's happening is this, is we have twin flames in all different segments and different levels or layers or areas of growth, and they're having an outside connection, all right? And this outside connection can be very intense to the point in most cases that I've been told is much stronger than with the original twin flame, all right? What it means by definition in probability is there's a lot of people out there who probably think they're with their twin flame that are not, which is one possibility. The other possibility is that people are growing and evolving, and as they're growing and evolving and changing, their own energy is changing, so the connections that they have with other people are going to be even more intense than with their twin flame, the original twin flame, their separated twin flame, their catalytic twin flame, their fake twin flame, and all that other goo-goo gaga stuff. You see where the issue is also coming into play here, where the twin flame label is not fitting anymore, because the whole thing is coming together as a singular process, which I've been trying to state for years, and so many of you are getting it, but so many are still not getting it in the sense of understanding what's going on. But this part here is really important because we're now down to the core issues, all right? So what's going to happen? All right. So I've talked to a few of them, and the twin flames that have come to me, and I've been getting them pretty much all, as I said, like this in the last month and a half. And this for me is validation. It's time for me to do this video. So, and I'm going through the same thing also, all right? Nicole is having connections with other people. I'm having connections with other people at a very intense level. And in some cases, I can even say they're stronger than the connection that I have with Nicole when we first came together. And it makes total sense to me because we both evolved and changed, so therefore it would be. It doesn't mean that a relationship is pending with another person that you have a connection with that seems as though it's a twin flame connection. Because in reality, what's taking place at an energetic level is this, and this is another thing that I wanted to mention. Before, as a general rule, most people in regards to their chakras, as it were, used to be takers or receivers. We used to take and receive from each other people, okay? Now, because we've evolved into a 12 chakra system and into the pillar of light and into the diamond chakra type situation thing, and all kinds of labels go along, and I don't want to kind of get anybody mixed up here, is what's happened is we're now senders, all right? We're givers of information, but at the same time what happens is as we're giving, the ingredients that we need to deal with at a core level, for example, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to use me. My mother suffered from agoraphobia. She also was prone to panic attacks, anxiety, like out of this world. And I can remember what she was like. I mean, she couldn't go to the grocery store in any way, shape, or form unless it was a 3-day planning session before she went. And she took all kinds of stuff before she went because she didn't know this. She would worry about this. She was, oh, am I going to trip on the sidewalk? Am I going to fall down? Is there a toilet around? Will I be blah, blah, blah? And it went on and on and on. And one of the things that I have found is she gifted me with that, all right? I, in the last few years, have had to face the same thing, the anxiety, the panic attacks, and the rest of it. And I'm not immune to any of this. I'm no different than anybody else that's out there. If you think it's easier for me and Nicole, it's not. We have to go through everything that everybody else is going to go through, because if we don't go through it, then we can't be a voice to share it with other people. And my opinion is, if knowledge is no good unless it's shared. To sit and say, well, I've got the knowledge and I don't want to share it with people because I don't want to take them away from their own pathway, that's ego talking, all right? That's a self-centered individual who's looking for an excuse not to do anything anymore. That's not where Nicole and I are coming from. So in doing this, what's happening is when you connect with that outside connection, okay, and I'm going to put it this way. You've heard me say in videos before that our whole concept of love, relationship, and sexuality was going to change, all right? But in order for that to change, we have to get to our core issues, all right? And our core issues, in many cases, Nicole and I found out we can't do it on our own. It's just not, it's not possible to do it between the two of us to be able to assist each other. Yes, we've been able to help each other, to support each other, but when it comes to those core issues, especially the ones that have been gifted by our parents to us as a template, and this is where it gets really hairy, because I've been going through the spiritual evolution now for Kundalini Awakening now since I was 36, and I'm 70. I'm going to be 74 this year. That's a long time to have Kundalini flowing through your body, all right? In some cases, very intensely at times. And I thought I had arrived at a relative point of stability, if I can use that term. Not so. Nicole has become quite the astrologer. She's very keen on evolutionary astrology. She's been studying it now for about 4 or 5 years, and she's very accomplished at it. And she told me that I basically started all over again, and I'm working now with the core issues. Well, that's lovely, and just what I needed to be informed about. So what I'm telling you is what's happening to me and what's happening to Nicole is going to happen to you also. All right? Same thing. It will be unique and individual to you, but it will happen to you. All I'm giving you is the basic ingredients of what's going on. So what it means is, as we're evolving, for example, our physical bodies and the condition of our physical bodies have been dictated to by our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and all of us, all of them that preceded them. Genetically, hereditary, these patterns have been enhanced, grown, produced, enhanced, grown, produced, and the end result is you, wherever you are, with any of the dysfunctional patterns that you may have at this particular point in time. These need to be dealt with. You can only deal with so much with the person that you're with, and then sooner or later, and I don't care if you're a twin flame and you're by yourself, and whatever, you're going to have another, if you want, twin flame come that's going to be very intense, more powerful than the original, and it's going to have that exchange of energy. Now, what's going to happen in that exchange of energy? And here again, I'm not going to say I'm an expert. I'm beginning to discover that usually a lot of people, what they're doing is when they're having these connections with another person, immediately they're interpreting it, one, as a relationship, two, something sexual is going to happen between the two individuals. And that's basic human instinct, all right? Because most of us, as a general rule, not all of us, all we're ever concerned about is our personal well-being and when is the next time we're going to get laid. And guys are notorious for that, all right? Especially guys in the spiritual community. I mean, that's all they think about is dicking all you spiritual ladies out there, all right? That's what they want to do. They're not interested in anything else per se, but going from flower to flower and pollinating, and as it kind of goes. So when it comes to this kind of connection, what actually is happening is because the chakras are now sending as opposed to taking, whatever you have gained in your experience, your knowledge, and your wherewithal in your journey through your spiritual evolution that is beneficial to the other person. In other words, look at it this way. The intricacies of these connections boggle my mind because the intelligence behind this is incredible, all right? How is it that something or other, and I'm not going to use the word God here because I'm not religious, all right? And I'm not going to use that as a point of reference. But there's some kind of intelligence behind the scenes that in a basic twin flame union as we see it now, can have someone else show up that is exactly at the right frequency, has the complementary thing that they've gone through that is essential to another person to go through the healing or the cleansing or the purging from the deep core issues. Now, when I say deep core issues, think about the soul group that you came into. Think about all of the belief systems that you have. think about your belief systems about love, relationship, sexuality, and put this into the category of it's all going to change. All right? One of the biggest things that's going on this planet right now is sexuality and sexual energy. It's part and parcel of Kundalini awakening, heart center connection, and the rising of sexual energy. And the very first thing that happens is basically we start experiencing, in a lot of cases, twin flames who are with their twin flames. I know a lot of you will deny it, but I know it's happening. And a lot of you who are married, who are in with a relationship with your soulmate, or whatever the hell you want to call it, doesn't matter anymore. The labels really don't mean anything. They did originally in the beginning, but they don't anymore. I like soul-to-soul connection. It's everything fits in that quite comfortably. So you're having these etheric encounters in dream states, in visions, in meditation with other beings or other people, and they're very sexual, all right? And what are they doing? What's the purpose, for example? One, we are so relegated in our society, all right? And I'm going to be careful how I word this here because I don't want to insult anybody because we have to be politically correct here when we do get into the sexuality thing. We are so ingrained with belief systems when it comes to our sexuality. And these belief systems have been going on for generation after generation after generation. And a lot of them have become dysfunctional, all right? We come into this reality, we come in being heterosexual, we come in being gay, we come in being bisexual, we become in transgender right from the day that we're born. Well, why did we get there? Okay? We got there because of all of the ingrained belief systems about sexuality previously by our parents, our predecessors before that, our grandparents, and so on over a particular thing. So all of this now has produced our society, our sexuality, and all of the manifestations of our sexuality in our society as it is today. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is it's all going to change. All right? To what? I don't know yet. All right? I will, but I don't know yet. But what's happening is this is why these encounters are happening in the etheric planes, okay? And you're having these encounters, even if you're married and you're with a partner and you love your partner and you're happy with your partner, you're having these also. If you're with your twin flame, you're having these also with other people. Whether you admit it or not, you're having it. And I know you are because I've actually had twin flames who have come to me and I've been counseling them and they've actually told me that they've been having these encounters even in spite of the fact that they're with their twin flame, all right? Does that mean you're not being true to your twin flame? According to belief systems, this is not good, okay? So what I'm saying to you is all of this that's taking place in the etheric planes has a purpose, and it is to modify, to cleanse, to purge from your deep core issues and belief systems that are deeply templated within your etheric body. Remember, I've talked about the etheric body. I said this was going to be a long video, okay? So bear with me on this one because I want to finish it up here in the next few minutes. So what's happening is whatever your sexual preference or your sexual orientation is, all right, understand that you were gifted with it, all right? You were gifted with your sexual preference and sexual orientation. You were gifted with your concept of love by your parents and the previous generations before you. You were gifted with all of these functional, dysfunctional patterns. So this is why your dream state is probably like wild and woolly. Your vision state is going on. And now we're coming into play where there are already some people who have worked through, if that's the appropriate session, when I say worked through, I don't mean they got pencil and paper out and they worked it out with a pencil, all right? Or they've gone through this, that, and the other thing. They have gone through this process and may not even be aware that they've actually completed or they've eliminated that from their etheric body and it's not there anymore. So they're the perfect candidate to connect with another person who needs assistance with exactly that particular template that they've already eliminated so that they can share it with another person. And that other person may have something that they've already worked out and done. Like, this is really amazing what is going on here behind the scenes of love. If some of you could just, see beyond getting laid in a relationship, there's so much out there to learn. There's so much exciting stuff that's just waiting for you to get into it. All right? It's just waiting for you to get into it. And this is what is happening. And the process now has come to the point where everyone's concept of love, relationship, and sexuality is changing. And this in turn is happening because these connections now with other people. So, all right, so you're with this person, you're with your twin flame, and your twin flame relationship has been going on, and suddenly you have this one connection with another person, and you understand what I'm saying, and you're not getting mixed up with relationship and all the other stuff. You're understanding that there's a process, there's an exchanging going on. Call it a healing, if you will. Call it a sharing, if you will. Call it a melding, if you will. It's an exchange of energy that filters into your consciousness, filters into your etheric body, and dissipates. Can you have another one of these show up? Yeah, you can have 2 or 3 or 4 of them show up. Whatever is necessary, because we're at a new phase now of the evolutionary process, all right? And this is exactly what's taking place in the soul-to-soul connections, the twin flame community. Now, there's going to be a lot of resistance to what I've said here, but there's also going to be a lot of understanding by a lot of people, all right, as to what is going on. And this means that all of the astral planes, now you've heard me talk about this before also. I said before that the astral planes are where individuals on this planet go after they leave the physical. And those astral planes are created by belief systems, all right? They originate and are created and perpetuated by belief systems. So as we are doing this, what we're doing here now, we're down to the core issues of the sexuality, okay? And I'm not trying to pick a fight with anybody. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or pick on anybody's gender or sexual orientation. I'm trying to give some information here that people can think about and digest, all right, and understand what they're going through in that perspective. So the idea here is this, is as you have this exchange take place, this is released from you, all right? And I'll tell you something else. Let's say, for example, you have an addiction to alcohol. I'll use that as an example, that as a thing, because that's one of the issues I've had to deal with, all right? And you inherited that from your family, all right? And someone is able to connect with you and have an energetic connection with you, and you're able to exchange that with that person, and you're able to release that from your core issues. Well, guess what? Not only have you done it for you, you've done it for the parents that gifted you with it in the first place, unbeknown to them. So don't blame your parents. They were just doing what they were doing, which they were brainwashed with or cloned with or templated with, whatever term you want to use, and passed it down. So the whole thing here is there's a lot more going on now in the twin flame connections. And I understand that a lot of people are going to have a really hard time grasping some of this and catching up. And you're going to have to do it quicker, all right? You're going to have to get a little bit more open and open your minds up to a little bit more, all right? I constantly get people coming to me and they'll say, well, Mel, you're constantly contradicting yourself in your videos. Yes, absolutely correct. I am definitely damn do it, and I love it when I do it, because what it tells me is I've grown and evolved. And they'll say, well, why don't you take the stupid video down if you contradicted yourself and you no longer feel that way? Because of the other people that are coming along who may be at a certain stage of understanding, that's why I leave it there. I don't mind if you tell me that I contradicted myself and I look like a jerk. There might be somebody else coming along, 4 or 5 or 6 people, who that video can benefit a great deal by leaving it there. So I don't mind somebody throwing a little bit of shit at me if it benefits 5 or 6 more down the road. So that's why I do that in that respect. And I have no problem contradicting myself, because it tells me I'm still growing and evolving, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And when I'm growing and evolving, my role is I'm supposed to share it with you as it comes up. Now, when these releases from the etheric body take place, because I had one happen last night, okay? And this is thanks to someone that I've recently had a connection with, of which I'm talking about, all right, is a core issue about my mother that she had gifted me with in regards to physical condition, all right, has been lifted because I actually woke up in the middle of the night and immediately I was thinking, it was really weird. I woke up and I was immediately thinking about my mother at the time, and suddenly I felt almost like a darkness, a wave of something leave. And I knew what it was. I knew it was that templating that my mother had gifted me with no intention on her part. So my understanding is, from what I've been told from source, if you will, is that when you do it for yourself, you've done it for everybody that has gone on in the astral plane. So what it means is that a lot of people don't have to come back and do that shit over again. All right, so we're cleaning it out. So this is a very important thing that's taking place on the planet right now. So please understand, I'm not trying to annoy people intentionally, but I like to do it. I like to annoy you when I get the chance, because in annoying you, I get you to think. Whether you like me or not is irrelevant. I couldn't care less, all right? I want you to love me, but it doesn't matter to me if you like me. If you're awake at all, you know exactly what I just said. Okay, I've done 41 minutes on this video here. I expect I'm going to hear some comments on it. I don't want to make it any longer than what it is. But do understand that this is really going to be the focus in 2018. This core issue templating. You are going to see more and more and more people in whatever label or whatever level or layer or wherever they're at in the twin flame community. You're going to see this happening by the hundreds and the thousands during the course of this year, and it's going to be chaos, literally chaos, when you see somebody, a lady who's hopelessly wanting to be with her twin flame, and suddenly 4 or 5 more are going to show up, all right? And she's going to be in that belief system of relationship and love and whining and getting laid and all that stuff, and it's going to be a real schmozzle. And I can't wait for it to happen, because I'm going to be right here, and it's not a time for anyone who has any awareness or any knowledge about twin flames to be hanging up their socks and quitting, because if you do, it just means, by definition, you gave up too soon in that perspective. For all of the other ones, the YouTube thing is basically the same. I see people leaving this year. Every year they leave. Every year a new bunch comes, and that's the way it should be. Cycle in and cycle out. There are now people who have been waiting now for years for me to disappear, that my day has come. It's all over for Melvin. It's done. They've been saying that now for 10 years. 10 years, and I'm still here, and I'm still going. I'm still giving information. So what are you going to do? What other choice do you have but to love me as much as I love all of you? Giving and sharing. That's what it's all about. I'll have more on this particular topic at a later date, but that should be enough to titillate your fancy. Okay? Have a great day, everyone.